Hey, what's up people, this is Dow Creates. My name is Joshua Dow and I'm an artist. In this video I am going to be working on my sketchbook, and I'm going to do that with a little prompt of mine that I thought about, and that is draw a fan art of every book you've read so far this year. And if you've drawn a lot of books, then maybe you could do like every month instead so it doesn't get out of hand. And if you haven't read a lot of books, then even better, because I'm going to be giving a little bit of recommendation in this video. Now let's just get into the sketching. So the first book I read was The Cat That Could Read Backwards, and it was really easy to read, really short, sweet book about this journalist who solves a case of murder with the help of a cat, and yeah, just easy read, nice to get back into reading, and I'd give it a 3 out of 5 because it wasn't like the best ever. Then the next one was Game of Thrones book 3.5, like 3.5, and I read this in Nicaragua. I read both of these in Nicaragua because I was traveling and I just found them in a hostel and read them there. I've read all of the Game of Thrones books before, but I saw this one there, so I read it again. And yeah, if you have not read any Game of Thrones books, then you definitely have to. They are so good. If you've only watched the TV show, they are so much better. I can't stand the TV show, to be honest. I'm sorry if that offends anyone. But anyway, I really enjoyed reading this book again. They are just the most complex and in-depth books ever, and 5 out of 5. Next one, The 100, but in Spanish. The 100 is a TV show, and it's based on this book, but I don't think the book is anywhere near as well known. But I like the TV show. It's enjoyable. It's like not the best quality-wise, but I like it. I like the characters and stuff like that. So I decided to read this book in Spanish because I wanted to improve my Spanish, and I didn't read this through at all. I'm only like at the beginning, but I figured it would be good to improve. And this is the only book that I included that I didn't read fully through because I don't think anyone expects me to read a full Spanish book. But yeah, I'd give this... I can't really talk about the book, honestly, because it wasn't about the story, actually. It was about learning Spanish. But the TV show is nice, so I'd probably give this like a 3 out of 5, maybe 3.5 out of 5. I don't know. Yeah, the next book is The Accidental Further Adventure of the 100-Year-Old Man, and this is the second book of the 100-year-old man who climbed out of the window and disappeared, which is such a great book. It tells the story of a 100-year-old man who has this adventure, but then it also simultaneously tells the story of his life, and since he's 100 years old, it tells the past 100 years of history, and he's kind of written into the most historical events of the past 100 years. So it kind of teaches you about history while telling you a really funny story, and it's so great. Yeah, the second book, however, it's supposed to be like not about past politics of the past 100 years, but about like the present politics. And while that is an interesting concept, I think it's just not as well executed, kind of predictable, kind of stereotypical and over the top. And yeah, I'd probably give this book a 2.5 out of 5. Yeah, wasn't my favorite. Then the next book I read was The Trials of Apollo 4, which is part of the Percy Jackson universe. And while I usually enjoy reading books that I read when I was younger as well, like I don't really grow out of stuff, I do feel like I've grown out of this at this point. The writing is just so predictable, and every plot of every book out of the series, which there is a lot of, is just the same, so 2 out of 5. And then the next book is SKULDUGGEry Pleasant 14, which is also a book that I used to enjoy as a young adult, but in this case, it is actually still, I love these books so much. The characters are so well written, everything is so well written. Yeah, the author is just so funny. These books are so good. This drawing, on the other hand, was not so good, so I conveniently found these post-it notes that like perfectly fit onto the size that I wanted to draw in, so I decided to start over. And since I wasn't feeling drawing like the characters at that point, I decided to draw the car out of the book, which is some kind of Bentley. I don't know anything about cars, but I didn't end up liking that either. So I decided to switch over to the next franchise, and that is HELLBOY. And unfortunately, I didn't record that, but I really enjoyed this drawing, really happy with it because, yeah, the comic book is by Mike Mignola, an artist that I love a lot, and I tried to mimic his style a little bit, and yeah, I like it. The comic book itself, I didn't like that much, so only 3.5. And then the next book is Shadows of Self by Brandon Sanderson, and this is the second book out of a trilogy, and yeah, I love these so much. It's kind of set in, I mean, it is fantasy. It's like with magic and stuff, but it's kind of set in a Western, but also Industrial Revolution time. So, yeah, a little bit complicated, but the world building is just astoundingly great. Like, it's magic, but it still makes sense, and it's kind of like approached like a science, the magic. And then it also, yeah, it deals with like time evolving and, yeah, electronics and magic together and stuff like that. It's really great. And also the dynamics between the characters is so great. Like the main character here, I like him a lot, but then the character in the back, who's kind of the sidekick character, he is just the funniest guy ever. And yeah, I love the chapters written from his perspective, because he kind of has like his own way of thinking and his own like moral code that he follows. And yeah, it's really enjoyable to read these books. I'd still only give this one, I think, maybe 3.5 out of 5, because I like the first book out of this trilogy a lot better. But I still like this one a lot, and I'm looking forward to reading the last one of the trilogy. Then I went back to the Skullduggery Pleasant franchise, and while I didn't end up happy with this drawing either, I decided to not get stuck in it and just, yeah, accept this drawing. And yeah, I'm drawing one of the main characters of the books, which is a skeleton detective who is the name giver of the book, Skullduggery Pleasant. And I know it sounds really ridiculous, but if you're not into like magic and stuff like that, you can still read it just for the writing, because it's just so funny and the plot is awesome. And yeah, you kind of also like grow up with it, similar to Harry Potter, and yeah, I loved it. Then the next one is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which is the prequel to Hunger Games 4 or 5. Then Avatar: The Last Airbender comics, and I love these a lot. 5 out of 5, to be honest. The story is great, the art is amazing, and I love Aang, and here he is with hair. And then The Road, which is a really great book, 4.5 out of 5. I loved it. This writing style isn't exactly mine, but I loved it still. Then Normal People, which is not normally my type of book, to be honest, because it's kind of like a coming-of-age story. It's a lot about like finding yourself sexually and friends and peer pressure and stuff like that. But I did enjoy this so much. I read this through in a day. I actually started this video, and then in between, like the 2 days in between, I read this book and the next one, so I still had to fit them in there. But anyway, yeah, so in school we read like a lot of like coming of age books and stuff, like it was a whole like theme, and I just could not stand any of them. They were all just trying to be young and trying to be relatable and stuff, and just use bad words for the sake of using them and sounding cool and young and stuff like that. And yeah, I just hated every bit of it. But this book is just actually relatable, and you can actually like see what these characters are going through, and it's written so well. I definitely recommend it. I'd only give this like a 3.5 out of 5, because it's just like not my type of book, you know, like it's not my favorite genre. Inside this genre, it would probably be a 5 out of 5 for me. But yeah, in comparison to like the other books, it still wasn't my favorite, because I don't know, I'm just not into that type of books too much. And then the last book is The Diamond Brothers, which is such a great book. This is also a reread for me. It's a story of, well, it's a bunch of different books, like I think 7 or 8 different books, and it's the story of these two characters. They are brothers, and the older guy is Tim Diamond, and he's a private detective. But he's a real dumbass, and he's really stupid and can't do anything and always scared of it and everything. But his younger brother, Nick Diamond, who lives with him, is like the brains of the situation. So he always ends up solving the cases and stuff like that. And yeah, his older brother is just thinks he does. So yeah, really funny scenario, great books. I'd only give the first one, which I read again, the FALCON'S MALTESER, 3.5, because I think it's I like it least out of all the books. But overall, the series probably gets a 5 out of 5. Alright, before I show you all the final results once more, you can head over into the description if you're interested in any of the books, where I'll have the links to the Amazon pages of those, and also my ratings once more, and the timestamps if you want to watch it again for some reason. And also make sure to comment your opinions down below, like what you think of the books, if you agree with me, if you don't, and also what you think of the drawings. I think it's always really interesting to hear different opinions on books. Alright, now let's look at the final results. Okay, cool. That was such a fun way to fill up some pages of my sketchbooks. It's not a very expensive sketchbook, so I can only like draw on one page because it would bleed through on the other side, but it's definitely getting me there, and I think I might think of some other different prompts to fill up the sketchbook and make videos out of it as well, because I think this is a lot of fun. Let me know if you have any ideas for that as well, and also comment what books you've read so far this year, and if you've read more books than me. For me it's been 13 so far, I'm on my 14th right now, and or if you've read less, or if you prefer audiobooks. I love audiobooks as well, I get to so many, or if you just don't like books at all. Well, anyway, this has been a wild ride, and bye!